Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the most, Avery LR32 here. Destroy the ever-living boo-boo dippity brown stain. Off that like and subscribe button as we climb even higher the 1600 ladder. But with that being said, I also feel very melancholy because this may be my last competitive Yu-Gi-Oh event for quite some time. I'm still kind of back and forth on it, but going into this regional, I really didn't know how well I was going to do. I really hate this format. I think this format's one of the worst formats of all time. Worse than last format because Mitsurugi has just absolutely taken over. And so I really wanted to play Primite because my buddy Valley D, who quit the game, who I've talked about a lot on the channel, he was a coach, a mentor, still a great friend. But he really helped me get to that next level of competitiveness in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I feel like ever since he's quit the game and I've lost his teachings, his knowledge, I feel like I've done nothing but regress as a player, and it's just been a really difficult time. When you lose someone who's been a great mentor, not that you instantly forget all the things that they taught you, but you really start to question yourself when you lose and wonder, was it the person giving you the teachings that helped you get there, or was it actually you? And so that's something that I've tried to come to terms with. But all that aside, this is what I played at the Kissimmee Regional. It was kind of a toxic regional, to be honest. There was a lot of players arguing around me. I think that's just because of the fact that the format is so toxic right now, with Mitsurugi basically making an FTK board that's just an unbreakable board. But besides all that, I'll go through my matchups real quick. I ended up dropping. I was 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, which is really funny. I ended up getting my second draw against a Blue Eyes player because I forgot that Heraldic Seal of Heavenly Seals makes a monster's attack and defense 0. But I didn't forget that in game 1, but I forgot it in game 2. So I won game 1. We went into time in game 2 after he had already inflicted damage because he summoned Kokimura Drago. All I had to do is normal summon a Lacrima, swing over it, and then do Fiendsmith combo. We go to time and I win. But then I would have been 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. If I got one more draw or one more loss, I was going to be out of it and I wasn't going to get my invite. So it is what it is. I started off 0-2. I lost to 2 pure Mitsurugi players, both of which dropped fucking Wosu on my Wave High King, which is just killer. I didn't think pure was going to be as big of a deal, but turns out it was. So that just hurt a lot. I really think Mitsurugi is just an unfair dog water deck. I've noticed that bad players get rewarded very much in this really terrible format. And then round 3, I ended up going up against Atlantean Mermel that I beat shockingly. And then after that, I played another Atlantean Mermel, which I beat shockingly because I went into this event thinking that water doesn't exist, and I actually played it twice and beat it twice, which was insane. And then I would have beat the Blue Eyes player had I not misplayed. So this is 60 card Primite Fiendsmith with 30 fucking hand traps. My reasoning for this is that I saw the build from the Ghostis player that topped in Germany, whatever it was, like a few months back, somewhere over in Europe. And he was playing Summon Skull. I'm playing Beast of Tau War just because it has higher defense, so technically it's better. Dark level 6 Fiend. This, of course, Dippity being a level 4 Light Fiend. You can do Fiendsmith plays, and both of these equal a Light and Dark Chaos Angel, which is, of course, really good. And I made some changes to his build that we will go through as we go through with the deck profile. So I got tired of trying to figure out which hand traps to use, and I figured why not play 30 of them, because there are a lot of hand traps that are good in this current format. So we are playing 3 copies of Ash, 3 Droll, 3 Veiler. This is pretty standard. He was on Dominus Purge. I swapped to Droll because Dominus Purge, it kind of limits what hand traps you can play, and I just wanted to be able to play as many as I could. So I ended up throwing in Droll because it's just a turn skip against Mitsurugi. Of course, the 1 Lurie, 3 Engraver with 3 Ghost Bell, 3 Moonlit Chill, 3 Ogre, 3 Lacrima, and then we're on 6 Mulch Armies of 3 Fua and 3 Pirellia. This deck was so easy to side deck with because you just took out the Pirellias going first. 3 Nib, and then the 3 Ether Barrel, the 1 Beast of Tau War, and the 1 Dippity. People kept being confused whenever I'd go activate Primite Roar, pay 2,000, call Dippity, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, call Dippity. Do you have a response? And they're just laughing. They're like, I guess not. No. And then they realize I'm doing full Fiendsmith combo and they crap their pants. 1 Call by the Grave, 3 Tracked, 3 Desires, 3 Drill Beam. We'll talk about this in a minute. 3 Lordly Load, 3 Roar, 1 Talents, 1 Paradise, and 3 Imperm. He only, the original player that played this kind of deck only played 1 Drill Beam, and he did not play Talents. but I ended up throwing in the 2 Drill Beam and the Talents because he was originally on 3 Strike. And I didn't like Strike because going second, the card is dead. And I would rather play a card like Drill Beam that going second, you pair this with like any other Primite card, whether it's Barrel, a Vanilla, Load, something that's not another Drill Beam. It's actually a pretty good board breaker card. So this actually was way better than Strike for this event. I was really happy with how this turned out. And then for the side deck, we're playing 3 Lancia, 3 Crow, 3 Meowsle, 1 Feather Duster, Double Lightning Storm, and 3 Judgment. I really liked Crow because a lot of times I would side out either Bell, Moonlit Chill, or Ogres when I was siding to go second. And that's because the Ghost Sisters kind of overlap in some ways in the sense of there are some that are better in some matchups to where you don't need as many. So you can kind of pull back on it. So they kind of overlap because it's like, okay, you've got hand traps, but you don't need those hand traps. So like what I would do going second, like say into Mitsurugi, I would bring in the 3 Meowsle, the 3 Crow, and then the 3 Board Breakers. And then against Mitsu specifically, like say it was like Mitsurugi Rizal, I would take out the Moonlit Chills to bring in the Crows, because now you've got 6 cards that can hurt their graveyard. So like they go Prayers, you can Ghost Bell it. If they tribute a card for cost, you can use the Crow to banish the card. They don't get any kind of plus. If they've got Rizals, so they're going to go for Duo Drive, you can leave in the Ogres, and then you can just kind of interchange from there. Like if it's Mitsurugi Rizal, I would probably just do the Crows in the back row hate because I want to keep in the Bells. I don't really care about Moonlit Chill. I can bring in the Crows, and then I've still got the Ogres, Veilers, and Ashes for Duo Drive, so the Moonlit Chill is kind of a moot point. Moonlit Chills were kind of whatever. They didn't really come up a whole lot, but I was siding these out like all the time, and then just matchup dependent for the Ogres and the Bells. So the Bells, Moonlit Chill, and Ogres are like the main things that would come out in some variation going second. And then also going second, I would take out the Talents, the Paradise, and the Call By, because if you're bringing in 9 cards, you need something else to take out when going second. And 3 one-ofs in a 60-card deck, especially the Talents and the Call By, you're really not going to be seeing that often anyway. So I was like, I'll play them because they're good and I've got the space. I thought about Crossout, but the problem with Crossout is that you're already banishing with Desires. So I'm like, I don't want to be playing all these hand traps and then not have the Crossout. Or like I draw into a Crossout off Desires and then the Crossout target I wanted is fucking gone. So I was like, Crossout just isn't the move. For the extra deck, we're playing 1 Little Knight, 1 Moon of the Close Heaven, 1 Sequence, Double Requiem, 1 Agnum Day. We're going to talk about this card in a second. Wallow Founder, 1 Sky Crisis, 1 Zeus, 1 Wave High King, 1 Ptolemy M7, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Necroquip, and then 2 copies of Disarray. So let's talk about this. This was a flex spot in the deck. So originally, this card would have been Lars, but I wasn't really a fan of Lars in testing. And then I looked at Wallow Founder, and I was like, you know, this card actually has some really funny niche implications. It's any 2 level 6 monsters. Like you can use Beast of Tau War and like another level 6 or just whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for each card in your opponent's graveyard. Quick effect, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, detach 1 or 2 materials from this card, and then activate the appropriate effect. So if you detach 1 material, you can return to the deck. And then if you detach 2, if the target is a monster, special summon it face up or in face down defense to your field. If it is not, set it to your field. You can only use this effect once per turn. So if the opponent goes like Mitsurugi lines and then they try and use like, what is it, Kusanagi to like get the prayers or ritual back to their hand, then you can use the Wallow Dragon to detach and then set, say like their 1 of ritual spell to your field so they lose the target. Or like if they tribute like a Saji for cost off of prayers, you can chain the Wallow Founder to either put the Saji back in deck or summon it to your field. Either way, the target's lost, so they don't get the effect of the Saji to search when it's tributed. So this card never came up because most of the time if I was making a rank 6, I was making Wave High King. Even if this was Lars, Wosu being able to tribute this and a Reptile in hand, like what my round 1 opponent did, to summon out his Wosu and just tribute over the Wave High King. I mean, if you had Lars, the same thing's going to happen. They're just going to fucking tribute over it. But this card, in theory, was really good. But this is kind of like your 1-of flex spot. This could be really whatever you want. Overall, I think the deck performed a lot better than the Bysteel versions. The Bysteel version was good into Malice if you went first because Branded regained specifically when it's not your turn, because turn player, you know, calling their effects first on the chain. You can use Regained as like, say, Chainlink 2 when a Malice monster banishes Chainlink 1. you could put the Malice card back and then draw. But a lot of times that card was kind of being a brick, and I would rather it be a hand trap. And so with playing 30 hand traps in a 60 card pile, you have like a 98% chance to see one hand trap. You're basically almost guaranteed to always see one hand trap in your hand. Two is still like an 80 something percent, I think. And then seeing 3 hand traps in your hand in a 5 card hand, it's a 50-50 shot. So, yeah, it may be 3 copies of the same card, but seeing 3 hand traps in your opening hand and like 2 engine cards, you only need to see 1 engine card to pop off. And yeah, I had hands where like I would brick on like, say, 4 hand traps and a talents. That happened one time at locals, but it never really happened at the regional. And the thing is that if you open up that many, it's kind of whatever, because like if your opponent summons 2 or more times from the extra deck, you can just summon like any hand trap and make a Sky Crisis, and now you have that with like say 3 or 4 other hand traps in your hand, just depending on the situation. So overall, I think the deck performed well. It just, had I not misplayed against the Blue Eyes player, I would have been 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. But at that point, you're kind of just delaying the inevitable when you've lost that early, because, you know, someone just has to fart on your record, and like then before you know it, you're X3 or something, or X4, God forbid, and then you're not getting your invite. So overall, I think it really came down to the fact that I felt like I played well overall, besides just that, you know, last round with forgetting about seals, zeroing out the Kokimir Drago. But other than that, I think I played really well. I think that just not knowing myself as a player being mid-range, I don't feel like I was going to be able to play Mitsurugi to the fullest extent and play it correctly. Therefore, I was going to get punished because I would be misplaying all day. And so I felt that this was the best deck for me as a player. And of course, I'm sure someone's out there is going to talk shit saying that I'm a bad player now, but it is what it is. I think I'm just more frustrated than anything, and I'm ready to hang my hat up on competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! At least for the time being. Maybe I'll fully quit. Maybe I won't. The content creation, regardless, is going to continue, but feel free to take this. Feel free to test it for yourself. I think this format's dog shit, so I want nothing to do with this garbage. I already sold off the deck and made a bunch of money, so I made my money back and then some from the cards I invested in for this deck. So guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm more than looking forward to making content for y'all. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.